Hey everybody, it's Gavin Seim, and I just want to give a quick update on my trial by jury coming this week down in East Wenatchee for daring to stand up in a courtroom and demand that the Constitution be followed. I'm charged with not one, but 3 crimes. Now, this is what America has become today, but I'm really excited about getting to this trial this week. Not excited to be abused and trampled and to see this abuse of justice that happened to me, that happened to my dad, and to see this ongoing abuse and America's failure to stand up. But I am excited to have this behind us and to have yet another example of how we stand up justly and rightly and principled to tyranny. Do I expect justice in this courtroom short of divine intervention? Absolutely not. But that's where we've allowed America to come, especially in our courtrooms, because we don't stand on principle. We don't stand boldly against these tyrants who, in the name and the false pretense of politeness and order and dignity and honor, are completely dishonorable, are completely lawless, completely violate the Constitution, violate people's rights, and violate the most fundamental principle of law, which is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Think about our justice system in America. A justice system where when you have a trial by jury, over 90% of those trials by jury in America convict. Convict, convict, convict. Put people under the thumb of government. You get robbed, let's say, all right? You get robbed, and the person who robs you gets convicted. The government finds them, they pay the government, they serve jail time to the government puts them on probation and under their thumb. You don't get any restitution. There's no justice for either party. Justice isn't served, but guess who comes out on top? The government. Control, money, and manipulation. Now, of course, it's wrong to steal, and there should be consequences when you commit real crimes. When, on the other hand, you stand up in defense of your neighbors, of your friends, of your nation, and say, this is justice, this is law, this is our Constitution. And you get jailed, fined, imprisoned. There's people all over America being persecuted for standing up for liberty, for standing up for justice, because a corrupt, lawless, and tyrannical government hates nothing more than when you point the finger at them and say, you are the criminal. And that's what we did in that courtroom that day. And so now we have a trial that puts on a pretense of justice, but think about this trial. The accused meets in the courtroom with a judge who is working in collaboration with the accuser, with the accusers. The jury comes in, who should be a jury of my peers, but I cannot have a jury of my peers because the judge decides who on the jury gets to judge the case. The judge decides, and he tells the jury, you will interpret the law my way and do what the court tells you, despite the fact that the jury has no obligation to obey the judge and only an obligation to judge their conscience alone. The jury walks into the government's building, the state's accusation, the state's judge, and the state's donuts, and is told, do exactly what the state tells you, and now listen to these facts and see if he's guilty. Well, guess what? Most of the time, as we see in America, if the government tells you you're guilty, you're guilty. Because despite what they will say in that courtroom, it's not innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty unless you can absolutely prove yourself innocent. That's the state of America. That's what we've allowed to happen. But nonetheless, I am proud to stand up for what's right and just, and we should all be. We should start holding our public officials and our politicians and our courts and ourselves accountable. Because until we recognize that the unlawful suffering of our neighbor is as evil as if it were ourselves, we will not have liberty. So we'll see what happens in the trial this week. You can keep me in your prayers. You can certainly donate to help us out with expenses. You can follow along over on the Facebook page. And if you can make it down to East Wenatchee, Washington, come and stand in solidarity in the court and witness what's happening in America's justice system. Take care.